What's up, guys? KAMIKAZE-FOX coming to you from HTA Hit the Apex Racing League F1 2019 on the PS4 platform. This is their HTA Assists League Season 3 Round 2 at Italy, which we are getting ready to kick off here in a couple minutes. Going to do a 50% qualifying, 18-minute short qualifying session followed by a 50% race. And I've got a co-commentator with me today going by the name of Ozone. And he'll be joining me here. And he is a former driver as well, so it'll be nice to have a little bit of driver input in today's race as we drive around Monza. And coming off of last week's race, round 1 at Bahrain, Khalifa kicked it off with a pole position, but it was KCG that walked away with the first win of the season, followed by Rita. Had a hard-fought battle between him and KCG for the lead of the race. Rita would come in second. Epic the Animal would come home third. Sloppy would finish 4th, Sippy 5th, Maxi 16 and 6th, Ben Gallagher was 7th, TC 13, it was 8th. Khalifa, unfortunately, even though he started on pole, came home 9th. And then AB 53 rounding out the top 10 points bank positions. We had 20 drivers last week, though, so the rest of the field. Schumacher M7 somehow managed to come home 11th place, but was subsequently kicked from the league due to his inexperience and I don't want to say dirty driving, but poor driving etiquette is what we'll call it. Fozzie Wazzie came home 12th. He struggled as well. Delta was 13th. I can't even pronounce this guy's gamer tag. Gatter Droppin' Tartan was 14th. Feared by Gaming was 15th. Shay Fox was 16th. F1 Fan was 17th. Carbon Con is 18th, and Ryan is Fat was 19th, and 15th through 19th was actually all DNFs, unfortunately. And then O'Reilly was set to drive in the Alfa Romeo last week, but unfortunately, some reason had some internet issues, wasn't able to get into the car, and wasn't classified. So I've got Ozone with me as we get ready to kick off here at Monza. Ozone, is there any tips you could give the drivers trying to get around this very fast track here at Monza, Italy? I'll run down the driver lineup. We've got Ben Gallagher in the Mercedes Petronas. AB53 will be rocking the Haas. Rita, who finished second last week in the Racing Point. Epic the Animal, who finished third last week, will be rocking that Renault. Arton Senna 1812 is a gentleman by the name of David Wallbank. He would be one to watch because Wallbank has a history of poor driving etiquette, and he's been kicked from a number of leagues a number of times. Sippy, who is going to be driving the Williams today, seems to have let him give it a shot here at HTA, so we'll see how it goes for Mr. Wallbank. ASD Kimmy in the Alfa Romeo. Carbon Con will be in the McLaren. KCG, last week's winner, will be in the other Alfa Romeo. And Dan in the Mercedes. I believe that's one of the drivers that you're familiar with. Is that correct, Ozone? And Maxi 16, that's also another driver that you're familiar with as well in the Toro Rosso. And Fozzie Wazzie will be in the McLaren. Feared by Gaming in the Renault. And this is the Gad Droppel Tartan. We're just going to call him Gad. He'll be in the Red Bull. Sloppy G is in the Toro Rosso. PMP try and catch in the Ferrari, and then Ozone and myself will be your commentators. Looks like 16 drivers so far for today's race. Another couple minutes here, and hopefully we'll be able to kick off this 18-minute short qualifying session, followed by a 50% race. And you said that you used to be a league racer yourself. What league were you racing in? It looks like we just had another couple drivers join up. We've got Euro Wolfs in the Red Bull Racing. Trying to see who else may have jumped in that we might have missed. Looks like he might have been the only additional driver, so 17 drivers for today's race. Not familiar with Euro Wolves. He wasn't with us last week. We did talk about a little bit about Schumacher M7. He had been kicked from the league, as was, I believe, F1 Fan. I believe he was another driver whose inexperience showed through last week, and Sippy made swift and decisive action to remove those players from the league. And you could definitely tell there was a lot of inexperience last week, and it seemed like some of the guys just kind of picked up the game and just wanted to jump into a league, but I don't think that's probably not your best course of action, I would imagine. Is that correct, Ozone? You might want to practice a little bit before jumping into something like this. And Monza, obviously a very demanding track mechanically on the car as far as the engine's concerned. I mean, you're on full throttle 80% of the lap. A little bit more than that, actually. Speeds 200 miles an hour easily. Is there a fine balance to try and find between the high-speed straights and these very slow chicanes that they put in here? I mean, how big is handling going to affect the cars? And you did bring up a good point there that this is the assist league. HTARL does run what they call the elite league, which is for the big boys, guys that want to play and run without any of the assists. Something I could never do. I like my traction control when it comes to this game. So we've got a few drivers already heading out on lap. Got a small train coming out of turn 1-2 chicane. Wallbank is your leader, followed by one of the Alfa Romeos and a Williams. So a couple of guys going out on their out laps. Oh, and Animal ST. He's bringing up a good point. So it sounds like your audio is not coming through on the live stream. You may want to check your settings. Because I don't think it looks like Animal's asking if there's only one audio coming through. So he can probably only hear me. He may not be able to hear you. Better make sure your settings are set to share.
Right, should be able to hear me now.
Well, that's too bad. We had such a good thing going there early on.
It's a good conversation as well. That was good for a debut for me, that.
There we go. All right, so we've got that fixed. So Ozone, who has been talking to me, I'm not talking to myself. He's brought up a few good points, so we'll try to recap that just a little bit. We talked about some of the traction control advantages on this track. Dang, that's too bad. We actually had a really good thing going.
That was really, really good. As you see, quite a lot of the drivers on my laps now, so it should be interesting to see what goes on. With Senna and the Ferrari with an Alfa Romeo in front of him, who's just about to tie onto the gravel, the exit of the savage chicane.
So we'll try to recap here just a little bit. We went over the driver lineup, but you're familiar with Maxi, who looks like he might be on a. Looks like
he's
he just started. He just started a time lap, but he just blew through that chicane.
He's just cut the chicane. He must be an outlap then. And the other driver I'm familiar with is Dan in the Mercedes. Another strong driver, could be in points position at the end of this Grand Prix.
So you've got, looks like some high hopes for Dan. See what kind of time he can put up. KCG, the first one to set a time. Last week's winner, 1:21.672. And we've got yellow flag, sector 3.
Oh, and Try and Catch has picked up a 5-place grid penalty.
Oh, 5-place grid penalty. He's had a collision with Rita, and Rita's just dived into the pit.
And Catches as well. As my dog is standing right next to me. Don't know why he's here, but he is.
Oh, we've got a car off in the gravel coming out of the second chicane. Looks like that might have been Gad.
I don't think... didn't look like a Red Bull from what I saw.
Might have been one of the Mercs.
Dan's in the pits, I don't think it was Dan.
And pick up Ben Gallagher in the other one.
See what Epic can do. I hope this is a lap because I've gone on board with them. And it's crossed the line to go on Paul.
Oh wow, look at that. 1:19.635.
That's a good lap. But obviously PMP was on the medium compound tyre. Which could work for him if he starts in the top 10. As he improves to a 21.1. So just the two drivers setting laps for the opening 5 minutes.
Yeah, 13 minutes left to go in the session, and only 2 drivers have set time so far. A lot of guys have come out and then gone back in. We just picked up AB53, and he dives back into the pits. Fozzie Wozzie finally sets the time, but it's 1:27.257. That's well off the pace.
It's a bit off, I have to admit. Sloppy comes out of the pits for zoomed out lap.
So Gad, unfortunately, is done for the session. He's not going to be able to set a time. Looks like he had an off and crashed out. And then who was the driver that had the contact with Rita? Cost him a 5-spot grid penalty.
Try and Catch in the Ferrari. As PMP Try and Catch. He was just going the grass there through the grounded.
Everybody else currently either on an outlap or in the pits. We're going to pick up Sippy. Looks like he might be coming across now to start
he's just starting a flyer.
Down into turn 1, we'll jump on board with him. And Feared by Gaming has left the session. And he was sitting in the pits. I'm not sure if maybe he's having internet issues or not. Currently riding along with Sippy in the Rocket Williams car. Through Lesmos 1 into Lesmos 2. And then down this backstretch, and you brought up a good point earlier about Ascari and how it's a very fast chicane, but that last left-hander coming out of Ascari, you said a lot of guys have cut that corner and get that time invalidated.
Yeah, I felt like when I was racing, the first part of the chicane, the entry point was right. I'd normally invalidate my lap, and the end of it, where I'd normally lose the back end and spin. But Sippy's done well as he goes into parabolic and about to finish his lap. Let's see what he comes up with.
Coming across, and wow, 1:19.374. Provisional pole sitter Sippy in the Williams. We pick up Sloppy now. Sloppy is in Lesmos 2. Getting ready to head down to the backstretch.
Senna in the second Ferrari's about going to parabolic now. Rita's just...
Rita, 1:19.331, so the times are starting to drop.
Senna's
oh no! Sloppy come out of Ascari very wide and through the gravel. That may have invalidated his time. And Animal wants to know if it's possible to have the mini map up. I mean, I guess it is, but...
Oh, Senna's retired.
That would be David Wallbank. He is qualified 5th so far, but he's going to be locked in at that 121.653 and immediately jumps down to 6th as Sloppy comes across the line with a 120.994. And Senna has left the session. So I wonder what David Wallbank's got going on.
It's a bit of a Grand Prix here between Dan and the Toro Rosso of Slop. No, it's not Slop, it's the other one. Max. Oh, here we go. Max just overtakes Dan in turn 1, but Dan's just cut the chicane after he's sat at 22.7.
Still got quite a few drivers that have yet to set a time. Ben Gallagher, now he just came across and set a time of a 1:35. Obviously that wasn't his hot lap. Looks like he might be on the gas now, heading down into turn 1.
No flags second one, but I can't see why there'd be an issue.
I'm not used to having the mini map up.
On board with Max going into Scaria.
Yellow flag sector 2.
I think,
and it looks like that might have been for Ben. Looks like he blew the chicane.
Might have run wide in the chicane. Max is just overtaking Dan. Used to do a bit of slipstream of that. So
Gallagher is going to invalidate his time. We'll pick up Kimi in the Alfa Romeo, not to be confused with the actual Kimi Räikkönen, but there's a yellow flag sector 3 now. Kimi's yet to set a time. There's a handful of drivers that have not set a time so far.
Max has just gone P5 with a 20.3 as Feared by Gaming has just rejoined the session.
Well, it's good to see that he's rejoined the session. So we've lost Gad. He crashed out. We've lost Wallbank, Art and Senna. I can't believe these guys use actual F1 names. It's so annoying. There's no way he's as good as Art and Senna. Yeah. Same thing with Schumacher last week. I decided to drop the Schumacher and just call him M7. He was just dragging Schumacher's name through the mud. It was atrocious the way he was racing. So Wallbank, that is Art and Senna 1812. He's now locked into 8th spot with 121.653. He's left the session. Not sure if he's having internet issues or if he'll be able to come back for the race. Kimi finally sets a time at a 122.030, good enough for 9th. And then once again, we'll pick up AB53 in the Haas. He is yet to set a time as well. So try and catch Ben Gallagher, AB53, and Feared by Gaming at no times. And really, at this point, if there's 7 minutes left to play in the session, Try and Catch has that 5-spot grid penalty for his collision earlier with Rita. Is it worth for him to try and set a time? And AB runs wide coming out of the second chicane.
Right into the gravel lap. If I was in this position, if I was one of Ben, 53 more, Feared by Gaming, I just want to get a lap on the bud. But for PMP, it's a bit different. Obviously, he's got a time penalty, but it's interesting. Does he want to get himself high up on the grid and then take the penalty, or does he want to start near the back and fight his way through the field in the race?
You know, after seeing the calamity that was last week, if it was me, I would take my chances and start at the back, because chances are there's going to be a melee heading into turn 1 at the first chicane.
Very big braking zone. Some drivers will be a little bit confident with their brakes, some others won't.
And the thing, I think with a 5-spot grid penalty, I mean, you're going to end up mid-pack no matter how you want to look at that. So you're going to be in the middle of that when it happens. Even if you get pole position, you're going to drop 5 spots, you're going to be in 6th, you're going to be in the middle of the pack when it all unfolds. I would start from the rear of the field.
Yeah, I'd start near the back if I was in that position.
So AB does finally set a time, 122.923, only good enough for 12th. So that leaves Try and Catch, who we were just talking about. He's still sitting in the pits. Ben Gallagher is on an out lap, and Feared by Gaming, who's had some internet issues, has gone out, come back in, and he is now pitting the car one more time. So 5 minutes left to play in the session, and we're going to have a lot of cars diving back into the pits and coming back out. And we haven't talked a whole lot about Euro Wolfs in the Red Bull, but he's gone 5th quickest, 120.085. Good time for him. He's the first driver to be in the 120s, as the 4 in front of him have all cracked into the 119s.
Yeah, he's the quiet session. I haven't been talking much about him. He's on a lap now. Is
And wow, look at that time by Rita. He's just cracked into the 118s. And I tell you, Rita and Casey G put on a show last week at Bahrain for the season opener. These guys were definitely the class of the field. They put on a great show for the battle for first, raged on almost the whole race. So Rita showing what he's got with a 118.992. We're going to pick up Euro Wolfs again. So he's down on the backstretch heading into Ascari.
Yeah, I'm on board with him. That looks quite clean for the first two parts. Just be careful here, over and wide. He's done that.
And it looks like we got quite a few viewers with us on the live stream. I want to shout out to them. Thanks for tuning in on this HTARL weekend. Unfortunately, no real Formula One for the subsequent time being. And Euro cracks into the 119s with a 119.770. He was good enough for 6. Immediately drops. Ben Gallagher comes across the line, 119.583. So Gallagher cracking into the top 5. Looks like we got a couple of guys slow on track. Sloppy heading back into the pits. So Feared by Gaming is finally on an out lap. He's yet to set a time. He's got 3 minutes left to play in the session. See if he's got anything for these top dogs. And I do want to give a shout out to Animal ST on the live stream. At least he did let us know that he couldn't hear you in the beginning of this live stream. So thanks for shouting that out and
thank you.
getting us corrected that.
Well, at least we got that fixed up. We could have been at lap 10 of the Grand Prix and known what I said. So that'd been interesting.
And it's something that I don't often think about because I'm so used to my thing just always being set that way because I commentate for so many leagues. So mine's never off. So I forget about it when I have a co-commentator, which is a rarity. Looks like Feared cut that last part of Ascari a little tight. I wonder if that'll invalidate his time or not. Got a yellow flag sector 3 coming out of the Parabolica. Two minutes to go in this qualifying session for round 2. Feared by Gaming on his out lap. Comes across the line. He's going to start his lap. So I guess since that was an out lap, no time would be invalidated cutting through Ascari like that. Oh, but he goes very deep into the first corner and he blows it heading into the first chicane. Now he'll have enough time to come around and set another lap. It would be pretty close.
Oh, it's a big collision. Oh, Max
wow.
is retired. I think Dan was trying to get slipstream from Max, and from what I could see, I was on board with Dan. He's just running to the back of Max and taking him out on the.
And Dan's got massive right front wing damage. So his time will be locked in. It looks like at a 1:22.7. Obviously, Maxi 1:23.36. And I just want to say it's a little bit of a coincidence to me that those two ran into each other. Those are the two guys that you're familiar with. Have they raced with each other in other leagues?
Yeah, I've been about with them in a couple of leagues, and I think that's the first time I've seen that happen with them. In fairness to them, I don't know if it's a driver error from one or the other, or just a lack of miscommunication.
And there's just a trail of cars getting ready to come across the line to start their last-ditch effort. Try and catch leading the train. He's coming down to turn 1, the number 13 Ferrari. He's got that 5-spot grid penalty for his collision early on. And looks like that's the Renault. I'm pretty sure that might have been, I don't know if that was Epic or if it was Feared by Gaming. Blew that first corner again. I want to say it was Epic.
Epic's just going into turn 1 now.
So it must have been Feared by Gaming, and Dan's going to retire from the session. Oh no, and the Ferrari trying to catch into the wall. So he's done for the day.
Ooh. So he's back of the grid effectively. Well, he would be. apparently Epic is on an outlap. I'm not sure about that one. This, the current pole sitter is just flying through Ascari.
And I've got Kimi picked up here on the live stream. He's in the Ascari as well, coming out of it.
Oh, I can see him in the background.
So Rita, your fastest guy on track so far, 1:18.992, coming out of the Parabolica, and he's going to dive into the pits. So we'll pick up Kimi. We'll see if Kimi's got anything for him. Kimi's coming out of the Parabolica now.
Oh, his animal's taking a bit of a spin at Ascari.
Kimi, he improves his time, but only jumps to 11th. We'll pick up Casey. Casey's coming across the line, and he too improves his time.
I think that's it. Animal is he been there, Ascari in fairness to him.
And it looks like he's going to pull off to the road. So says he's on an out lap. Looks like he's got some right front wing damage as well. So
yeah, he's going into the pits.
Things heated up there towards the end, but nobody was able to improve their position. Some guys did improve their time, but not their position.
Yeah, it was a bit anticlimactic from the commentary box. There's not much action. Everyone was improving, but they couldn't overtake anyone. What I do hope we don't have to do is wait for the remaining 55 seconds, so we can just get into the race now.
No, we finally got the car into the pits, so here is your starting order. Rita, followed by Sippy. Now, Rita's the only driver to walk away at a 1:18. Sippy going to be starting in second spot. Last week's winner, Casey G, starting third. Ben Gallagher is fourth. Epic the Animal is fifth. Euro Wolves making his debut for this season, starting in 6th. Sloppy G is 7th. Maxi 16, 8th after that hard collision. Carbon Khan is 9th. David Wallbank will be 10th. Kimi 11th. Feared by Gaming is 12th. Dan, who was a part of that collision with Maxi D, is going to be 13th. AB53 is 14th. Fozzie Wazzie is going to be 15th. Try and Catch did not set a time, and he's got that 5-spot grid penalty, so he should be starting behind Gad, and that's going to round out your 17 drivers. So we should have the formation lap, and we will run down that with you guys here at Monza. So any predictions based on the times and the little bit of experience that you've had so far?
Turn 1 could be the deciding factor of this Grand Prix. It depends how the front runners if they can stay without any contact, if they can get through clean. I can see the racing point of Ritter comfortably winning this race from what quality has shown us. But I wouldn't want to rule out the two behind him in the Cassie and the Alfa Romeo. And it should be an interesting scrap for the remainder of the points as well.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a three-way race. If they come out of turn 1 clean, I think Rita, KCG, and Sippy can definitely walk away with this. I've got some high hopes, though, for Euro Wolves. He was pretty quiet during that session, but seemed to be running some pretty consistent times. Might be a little bit of a dark horse heading into today's race.
And Epic as well in the Renault. He's another one of those dark horses as well.
I think so.
Remember Ben Gallagher as well in the Mercedes.
Going to start with the formation lap, and Rita going to be on pole position. Picks up his he picks up his first pole position of the year. He came home second last time out. Starting behind him is going to be Sippy in the Williams. Sippy coming off of a 5th place finish. He's going to want to try and keep his podium spot where he's starting in today's racing. Casey G is going to be looking to make it 2 wins in a row as he starts from 3rd. See if he can get by the 2 drivers in front of him. And Ben Gallagher made a good qualifying effort to start in 4th. He came home 7th last time out. He'll be looking to improve upon that in today's race. Epic the Animal, he'll be looking to work his way through the field, see if he can pick up a podium position again today. He came home 3rd last time out. And Euro Wolf starting in the 6th spot, making his debut this season. I think he might be a little bit of a dark horse. We'll see what he can do. Sloppy G going to be starting in the 7th spot. And he was 4th last time out. He showed a bit of speed last week. See if he can work his way through the field. Maxi 16. He was 6th last time out at Bahrain. He'll be starting in 8th day in the Toro Rosso, and he'll be looking to try and work his way up the order just a little bit. Put some points on the board. Carpicon is going to be looking to finish the race today as he got crashed out last time out. He's starting in 9th. And David Wallbank, a lot of history with that driver. He'll be starting in the 10th spot. Kimmy is going to be starting in the 11th spot. He'll be looking to try and work his way into the points as well. Feared by Gaming. Feared by Gaming had a DNF last time out as well. Dan, starting in the other Mercedes, had that crash during qualifying with Maxi. He'll be looking to try and work his way into the points as well, along with AB53 in the Haas. And Fozzie Wazzie had a rough go last time. He did finish the race in 12th. He had 27 seconds worth of time penalties at the end of the race. He'll be looking to try and improve his racecraft today, starting from 15th, see if he can work his way into the points. And Gad crashed out early on in qualifying. See if he's got anything for today's race. And Try and Catch had the 5-spot grid penalty, had a collision with Rita early on in qualifying, crashed out on his last hot lap. So we'll see if he's got anything for these guys. He may have a slight advantage starting at the back of this field. As Ozone has pointed out, turn 1 can be quite the calamity. So we'll see what happens. Good to get the grid reset and wait for the 5 red lights.
Yeah, we don't have Senna in P10. It's the swim run. Here we are.
Ready on the 5 red lights. Lights out, time to run what you brought their way in a puff of smoke. And they fan out just a little bit. Rita's got the lead heading down into turn 1, and it's going to get messy down here. Oh, look at this, and up the middle. Look at this. Euro Wolf's trying to split the 2 cars in front of him. Rita loses a spot. Casey's got the position coming out of turn 1.
It's a very good start for the Alfa Romeo. So slotting in behind as we go into the second sector. Sloppy tries to get past the Red Bull. Oh, there's a bit of a contact there. There's a bit of a domino effect.
Oh, we've got some cars spinning and going around. There's bits and pieces of... Oh, and that's Sloppy, and Maxi's got a 5-second time penalty, and we've got a safety car already.
Oh, let's calm down things, boys. Dan to the good start, up to 9th.
And it looks like David Wallbank has not joined the race, so he will be classified as nothing, so we can ignore him. The same thing happened to O'Reilly last week. So safety car already out. There's bits and pieces left everywhere. 5-second time penalty for Gad for a severe collision with Sloppy. Oh my, and look at this. Kimmy gets pushed off under the safety car.
It'll be interesting to see if any drivers do come into the pits.
Oh, and Casey tried to bait him.
Good dummy there. Good dummy.
He dived back out at the last second. That's usually something you see in NASCAR. He tried to bait and switch him, but nobody fell for it.
Wow, with someone nice going into the pits is both Toro Rossos.
Well, I have a feeling the guys that are probably going into the pits now is everybody that's got wing damage. And now AB53 has a 5-second time penalty for severe collision. So already, things kind of picking up where they left off last week. We saw a lot of this, especially under the safety car. A lot of drivers seem to be making a lot of mistakes under safety car conditions. Obviously, a lot of shuffling going on in the back. So Try and Catch managed to stay out of trouble. He's worked his way into 11th. He's on the hard tires, so he'll be looking to make a very long first stint. But do you think he should have taken this advantage to switch tires?
If he's starting on the hards, I would have.
Actually, he's made his pit stop. He pitted and switched to the hards.
Well, that's just a very good decision from Try and Catch for that. Jump on the hard tyres, see how long they can last. If they can last the entire race, then he'll be severely impressed with himself at the end of the Grand Prix.
So Maxi up to 12th after getting his car fixed and back out on track. Gad is going to be 13th. Looks like Kimmy is 14th, followed by AB53 in the Haas. And Sloppy going to be rounding out your 16 drivers for today's race. Looks like Wallbank left and never came back. So we had, I believe, 3 safety cars last week. We've already had 1 today on lap 1. And we were waiting for the pack to catch up.
Oh, we're waiting for Sloppy, we are. And a couple of other drivers.
Now, do you think any of the front runners should have taken their chances in switching tire compounds? Get that out of the way early.
No, if you're up in the front, I'd just hold out and keep the track position. I know everyone's going to be bunched up by the time the safety car does restart, but I would stay out and just keep on the same compound. But if I was in the middle or near the back, I definitely would have pitted. So it should be an interesting restart. Can the 3 behind the Alfa Romeo can do.
Well, and things look familiar at the front. KCG followed by Rita. That was most of the race last week at Bahrain. Those two battling back and forth with each other, swap positions a number of times. It was eventually under one of the safety car conditions that Casey was able to get out in front during a pit sequence and separate himself from Rita just a little bit and put a more slower car in between the two. Rita did eventually come home with second spot, but those two really put on a show last week, and I'm looking forward to seeing it again. So the top 4, even the top 5, I think everybody's got a shot right there. Those are 5 really quick drivers, and I think Euro Wolves could be a little bit of a spoiler.
I wouldn't want to count out Wolf either.
And Gad has picked up a 10-second time penalty, exceeding the track limits. How do you do that under the safety car?
I'm a bit puzzled about that. I don't know how he's done that, unless he's completely sliced the Scari.
I mean, it just seems absurd to me that under safety car conditions, there's no reason to cut a corner.
As
looks like Carbon's coming in.
McLaren did see it. I thought it was a dummy at first, but it's a genuine pit stop. McLaren.
That's going to drop him all the way to the back of the field, obviously.
There's a front wing change as well.
He must have had some wing damage we didn't know about. So I would like to think that the safety car would be in this lap.
Well, if I have to be honest, I hope it is, because I want to get to see some racing tonight. Ooh, it's getting close in the leaders pair.
Yeah, it was very close. A little bit of almost some contact there between Rita and KCG. See them still trying to keep them tires warm.
And the brakes as well.
And Fozzie Wazzie and try and catch. Had a little bit of a swap of position there. That's not supposed to be happening under the safety car.
Yeah, that shouldn't be happening.
And safety car is in this lap according to race control, so they're coming out of the Scari.
All of them have caught up. So we should be seeing some action here now. Safety is
so Casey's going to let Casey will let the safety car get away. We're going to hop on board with Rita for this restart.
This could be a very interesting restart to the Grand Prix. When will the Alpha blitz it?
Well, it also brings up the problem, too, that turn 1 could be a melee all over again.
Yeah, and you can see a few cars going right at each other for that. All tucked in.
And Casey takes off at the entrance of the Parabolica. Rita's on the gas. Good jump by Casey. Oh, Rita's lost the back end. Oh, he saves it, but around the outside goes Sippy. That was a great save, trying to get the power down.
Then Gallagher lost the back end a little bit, and Epic is right behind him.
Epic to the outside. Gallagher's going to take the more defensive line, try and make him go around the outside. Oh, but they're side by side coming out of the corner.
Going side by side.
Oh, and Euro Wolves loses the back end coming out of turn 2.
Chance for Danya, who's just overtaken Fear by Gaming. See if he can pass the Red Bull. Going to the second string.
Oh,
Oh, this is going to be close.
Yellow flag, sector 1.
Oh, he's cut the corner a bit. There's Dan, but he's just about got the move done. Oh, yellow flags, sector 1. Can't see what for. Mo is a little bit behind. I don't think he's got a front wing.
And Wolves just got passed by Epic. Wolves drops to 8th. Yellow flag, sector 2.
Trying to get back on the Thea as Wolves.
Oh,
We're on the outside of
Ascari.
This should be interesting.
Oh, and they're side by side to Ascari. That's not going to work.
Contact. Oh.
Woo! Oh no! And there goes the Mercedes Renault, feared by gaming into the wall.
They made initial contact, and there's a VSC deployed, the virtual safety car, not the proper one. See if any of the top guys will pit.
Man, that was never going to work. Side by side through Ascari was never going to work.
That's why I've never tried it before. I didn't want to see what the end result would be. The Red Bull did run wide a bit, going wide, trying to get a move done. Tried to come back on track, a little bit of contact, and the curb in, or the third part of it, I think that caught out Thea, and there's a very unfortunate retirement for the Renault.
Yeah, I think that that spin and into the wall was caused more by the hopping of the curb than it was by any type of the contact with Wolves.
Oh, and the VSC's just departed, and Max.
Wow, that was a quick one.
That was very quick. He's passed PMP, and he's going to go around the outside of Wolves as he
and he
cut
gets
the
pushed.
corner there. Oh. And he's got the position, but I don't know if that'll be a legal overtake or not. It's been a good start. This Grand Prix. The Alpha has extended his lead to 1.4 seconds. That's very impressive.
KCG out in front. Sippy running second. He's got Rita all over his back now, breathing down his neck.
Rita needs a good exit, yeah.
Oh, and Rita gets a great run coming out of the Ascari down the backstretch here.
I think he'll have to have a good exit from Palborough if he wants to overtake the manoeuvre.
Oh, he gets right up on his gearbox.
Good exit from Williams.
Riding on board with Rita. KCG just ran the fastest lap of the race.
The Renault, he's going behind Ben Gallagher here, P4. Max just set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix in the Toro Rosso. As here comes the Renault round the outside, turn 1. Turn 2 chicane.
Side by side coming out of the corner. And it's now a drag race as they head down towards the second chicane. They're still side by side through the sweeping right-hander.
I think Ben's got him. Yes, he
Gallagher's got the more preferred line, but here comes Epic.
Ooh, Dan's getting a little bit close there as Ben. Looks like he's running a little bit wide. There's an opportunity for the Renault.
Dan gets a good run coming out of that second chicane into Lesmos. Nose to tail is 4th, 5th, and 6th. And Epic finds himself in the middle of a Mercedes sandwich, and he's the meat.
I wouldn't want to be in the Mercedes sandwich. I wouldn't want to like it either. See if he can get a run on Benya going into Ascari, but as well.
3 cars heading into Ascari.
Dan's running a lot of curb on the second part.
And I don't want to leave this battle, but I'm going to hop back with Rita because Rita's battling for second spot, trying to get around Sippy.
When Dan did have a look, both the Epic and Dan both had a look at the cars in front.
And KCG again fastest lap.
Let's see what happens here as we go down the back straight. Can Ben hold out?
Down the front stretch into turn 1. Epic's going to make the move to the inside.
And Epic, it looks like he's got the position before the corner.
He has that DRS advantage and good clean pass.
Very good overtake. As Dan will be looking to overtake his teammate for P5.
But Rita is nose to tail. He's all over the gearbox now of Sippy. And here they go down to the second chicane. Not close enough to make a move. I thought for sure he would try and pull out. Oh, look at that! Sippy just clipped the gravel coming out of the corner. Ben Gallagher just picked up a 3-second time penalty.
Gone off. I think he cut the...
Oh, no!
Oh, and Max is in the wall.
Max is into the wall hardcore. I'm surprised it did not
unfortunate.
break the suspension. Virtual safety car again.
I was on board with Max there, and I was on board with Ben, and I could see Max coming around the outside after Ben did his mistake. And I think Max just into the wall.
Max had a head of steam coming out of that chicane, and he didn't want to hit Gallagher, but in trying to avoid him, he ended up into the wall. And a drive-through penalty for Fozzie Wazzie. Speeding under the virtual safety car.
I think when the first time the
I've never seen so many penalties under safety cars and virtual safety cars in my life.
What's going to happen in this scrap for P2? DRS is open. Always gone defensive as the Williams, but the Pink Panthers are like the
and they make a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact.
Always going to be a very close going into turn 2.
That's some good driving there by those two.
Good driving from
Sippy got the good run coming out of there.
As Max is in the pit for his second pit stop of the Grand Prix. Meanwhile, the Alpha 3.2 seconds out in front.
KCG just pulling away. Rita struggling with a little bit of rear end grip coming out of that corner. We got Dan 199722 cheering on Sloppy. Sloppy currently running 8th. Rita down to the inside as they head towards the Scari. He's got the move. He's got the... Nice.
He's running a bit wide. Will the Williams get back to him? No, he's done well that.
And here comes Epic. While those two were battling it out, Epic was closing the gap to him. Uh-oh, Fozzie Wazzie is done. What happened to him? And the safety car is going to come out. He's going off at Lesbos 2. I'm sorry, Lesbos 1.
Reader's picked up a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Obviously, he hasn't got within the speed limit. So he's not taking the 5
And look
at
this. Guess who just took the lead under the safety car in the pit sequence?
And try and catch.
With his 5-spot grid penalty for contact during qualifying. Made a pit stop early because of contact in the opening lap. Switched over the hards, and now he's out in front leading what has been more of a demolition derby than it has been a race.
And Sloppy's done the same as try and catch, and he's up to 3rd in the Toro Rosso.
KCG, though, was in and out of the pits, has 2nd spot, and he's still on the soft tires. So Sloppy up to 3rd. And this is what happened last week. Casey was able to separate himself from Rita. Rita's now 4th. He was able to separate himself from Rita last week during a pit sequence under a safety car just like this and put a slower car in between the two. Sippy loses out. He's the one that lost out. He was 2nd or 3rd running in before that safety car. He comes out 5th. And Epic was a part of that battle as well. He's now 6th. And Feared by Gaming has just left the session.
But he's just already retired as the Renault.
That's true.
As try and catch, he's having a little bit of a battle with the safety car, going into a Scari. That's a bit of an interesting one.
Now, try and catch is going to have his work cut out for him because it looks like Casey's going to be on the softer tires on the mediums.
And they're on fresher tyres as well.
And Gallagher picks up a 3-second time penalty. How do you do that under the safety car?
Yeah, some people do tend to want to catch up with the pack a little bit quickly. You might just slice a bit of Ascari. I've done that countless times. So easily done that.
And try and catch. He tried to bait him, but he should have known better going into that.
Oh, I do hate these people with the dummies. Always putting me off now. Oh.
Looks like we're still waiting on Kimmy to catch up to the pack in AB 53. And Gad is just now coming down the front stretch. So Gad, AB 53, and Kimmy.
Another penalty for exceeding tackle limits.
10-second time penalty. So Ben Gallagher, which is too bad because he's been pretty quick today, but that's going to be all for naught. He's now got, 15 seconds worth of time penalties just under this particular safety car?
Something like that. He's picked up 13 seconds in the last 2 laps alone.
And Dan 199722 is upset about Rita. And Animal ST would like some tire info, so we'll go ahead and put that up here for you. Hards and mediums for everybody. Now 2nd And then 4th through 8th is all mediums. Those were your front runners before the safety car. Now, an impressive run by Try and Catch to stay out of trouble, coincidentally, during the race, to stay out of trouble and work his way to the front. Obviously, he had his issues in qualifying, but we're still waiting on Kimmy to catch up to the pack. AB53 is here. Eric Wolf's just picked up a 5-second time penalty for exceeding the track limits. Here's the thing that gets me. I haven't seen anybody, I haven't been able to catch anybody exceeding the track limits under a safety car, but it comes up so much, and it looks like somebody just lost some wing damage.
It was.
And that's Maxie. Severe collision with Carbine.
And I think Try and Catch, you just have a brake check with the Alfa Romeo BA. I think no one was expecting the safety car to come in.
And Sippy has had a 5-second time penalty.
Oh,
what is going on?
Holding him up big time, yeah. He's going to try and go for it, which he has done. It's caused a bit of a melee behind him as Dan's risen and overtaken Epic, but Epic might have a word about that. As and
Casey easily gets around Try and Catch.
Wing, but he's overtaken Try and Catch. Going to turn 2. I don't think many of the drivers are expecting the safety car to come in. On board with Dan, who's in P6.
It looks like Reed is trying to get around Sloppy. Wasn't close enough.
It's the Alpha pulling out.
Rita, he's looking to the inside, heading into Lesbos. Nope, thought about it. You can see him poking his nose out.
I wouldn't want to do that. So go into the middle sector, about to go into the last sector. The Alpha, lead of a second. Dude, could be an
riding along with Rita, heading down the backstretch into Ascari. Oh, he's all over the gearbox. The Sloppy's Toro Rosso.
Surely got to be an opportunity. Down to Parabolica as Dan is having a look at the Williams. His Catch is weaving, trying to get out the driver's
and to the inside goes one of the Mercedes. That's Dan.
And he's done it for now.
Great move heading into the Parabolica.
Will he try and join the party for the scrap for P3? Are they going to go 3 wide?
Oh, and it's going to be 3 wide. It's 2 wide behind them. This is going to be messy.
No, I think Dan's pulled out of that.
Oh, that was close.
He might have caught Sloppy napping, and he has.
Oh, and around the outside, he gets around Sloppy. Oh, no, that one of the Epic into the wall.
Epic into the wall there. That's unfortunate. He's having a really good race. But Sloppy was caught napping there, and Dan's overtaking him for P4.
And
it looks like Try and Catch in the Ferrari. He's holding up with the train.
Dan199722 has some choice words for Rita on the live chat that I will not repeat. You guys can feel free to read along if you'd like, but I will not put that information out there. But Rita currently running in 3rd.
Will Dan ever go and Rita going into the next couple of laps or so?
And now we've got a 3-way battle for 2nd spot. We've got Try and Catch in the Ferrari being chased by Rita in the Racing Point, who's being chased by Dan in the Mercedes. 3-car battle for 1 spot. Meanwhile, KCG has been able to pull away.
Overtaking the Sippy in the Williams on the outside the Parabolica.
Gallagher to the outside.
Got the move done, is he?
Oh, the Williams. Oh, and he makes a little bit of contact.
A little bit of contact there.
Whew. DRS is enabled. And then we've got a 2-car battle.
Overtaking the P&P, Try and Catch.
Yep, 2-car battle now for the 2nd spot.
He's looking at the outside of Rita, and will he get it? I think he has. A little bit of contact there, a little bit of wheel banging.
And Dan up into 2nd.
Really good move. He's got a 3.1 second gap to the lead of the Grand Prix. He looks like he's out on a different planet to everyone else. Ben Gallagher overtaking Sloppy. I think P&P was having a look at the Racing Point. He's still having a look.
Try and Catch is still a part of this battle. I thought he had lost touch with them a little bit at the Parabolica heading into that corner, but he's back here with Rita. Rita running in 3rd. Meanwhile, Sloppy's still trying to find a way around Ben Gallagher. And Sippy is all over the back of Sloppy, and Carbine's all over the back end.
As well.
Here comes Carbine to the inside.
He's got it.
No, it's not going to work, guys. We saw this happen earlier.
Tippy's pulled out of it as Sloppy's run extremely wide, the exit of Viscari with that.
And Carbine and McLaren came out there wide as well.
But the scrap for second continues. See what happens at the end of this straight.
Here we go. Down the front stretch, these guys are going to have DRS advantage. Dan's going to be at the disadvantage. He's going to go all the way down the inside, take the defensive line, make them go to the outside. Oh, Sippy's retired from the session.
Out.
Oh, that's too bad. Sippy was having such a good run today.
Ooh, Dan's broke a little bit.
Oh, what is this? Rita gets pushed into the inside and around. Oh, try and catch, just lost the back end of the Ferrari, and around he goes. He tried putting the power down and he couldn't make it work. He's in the middle of the track.
Luckily his car's ghosted.
Virtual safety car.
Ooh. Yeah, he's tried to overtake a few people, and he's put a tyre on the grass, foot on the grass, and that's caused that spin. But, that's going to give relief for the Mercedes as a constructor. Second and fourth, obviously Ben's picked up some penalties in this Grand Prix. But yeah, the second virtual safety car you've had as well as two safety cars. But
and DRS is enabled and we're back to green. That was a quick one.
Another quick one.
So Rita's all over the gearbox now of Dan.
Dan's had a very good Ascari for that. He's pulled away.
He does give himself a little bit of separation. They do got a bit of a battle going on for the fifth spot between Carbine and Sloppy.
Sloppy is having a look. Can't forget about the Gad and the Red Bull behind him. So you start as these boys start lap 16.
Back to the battle side by side as they head down the front stretch. Rita's got the spot.
He's going.
The Sloppy just dived into the pits.
He's too busy focused on the scrap for fifth.
And I want to know what happened to, there's a yellow flag, sector 3. I want to know what happened to Sippy. He was having a relatively good run. He got that 5-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane, and then, bloop, gone. I wonder if he maybe crashed heading into the pits? Is that a possible thing to happen?
I don't think, well, unless you're really unfortunate and get pushed into the pit wall, as Dan is looking to get Ritz again.
And this race has actually flown by. We're more than halfway through this race. 11 laps to go.
The gap between first and second has closed down a bit.
Yeah, Rita's definitely closing in the gap. It was 3+ seconds a lap ago. These two are catching KCG, but Casey's got that wing damage, so that's where the difference is.
I'd try and hold out if I was leading this Grand Prix. What Dan can do down the back straight. This is the only main battle I can see looking at the times.
Try and catch 3-second time penalty. Corner cutting him short. His race is falling apart. He's now 18 seconds behind Maxi for the 12th spot, running in 13th. But this race has turned out to be a bit of a race of attrition.
I think we might be seeing a three-way scrap for the lead here. Gap's down to a second.
Well, I know you said it a moment ago, if you were KCG, you would try and hold out as long as you can. You've got front wing damage. You're not going to be able to hold these guys off. Epic just ran the fastest lap real quick. Now, if you're in front and you know you're not going to be able to hold these guys off, I mean, do you just try to do damage control at this point, see if you can finish third or fourth and just put some points on the board? Or do you take a risk and try and pit and switch out that wing and see if you can work your way back towards the front?
I think if he pits, I think he'd be out behind Max in the P12. And Dan picks up a penalty for track limits. I think that's his first one of the day.
That's the first one for Dan that I've seen, and that was heading into Ascari. That was that left-hander heading in. That's where you said you cut your corner a lot. So Ascari is a bit tricky, and it's very fast too.
Yeah, overtake for the lead here, I think.
I think Rita's going to be able to easily pull this one off. Casey does run him down towards the wall a little bit.
This could be interesting. Will Dan try and catch up and join in? Forcing the racing point even is got the lead.
And Rita back to the front. KCG's going to run that corner just a little wide. Dan is all over the back end of him. And Ben Gallagher is closing this gap as well. Ben Gallagher's closing in on this battle, so it's about to be a four-way fight.
Dan needs to overtake the Alpha very quickly. He needs a chance of winning this Grand Prix. I think he'll have much problems about it.
That's very tight racing. Good racing, but very tight.
Very good move. I think if the Alpha was going to pit, he'd be in roughly P8 to P9. What we could do from there if you wanted to.
And Rita picks up a 3-second time penalty, so that's one for Dan, one for Rita. Time penalties are going to be they're going to be an issue at the end of this race for sure.
Rita's got quite a few penalties. Just looking at the race director, he's got 13 seconds worth of
oh wow.
penalties. He picked up a couple at the start of the race, and Dan's only got 3.
So it looks like Casey's going to dive into the pits. That's going to move Ben Gallagher up into third. So realistically, as it stands, we're looking at a Mercedes 1-2 right now because Rita's not going to be able to pull out a 13-second gap over Dan.
But I think Ben has got multiple penalties as well, as Max is retired from the Grand Prix.
What has happened to Max?
Down in P12.
That is going to be a yellow flag sector 3, so...
Side to the exit of Scary or...
possibly the Parabolica. Casey G still in the pits. He's just now coming out. And Casey is going to drop all the way down to the 11th spot.
Should be an interesting remainder 7 laps or so in this Grand Prix. See how much can the Alpha fight back from P11. Also be interesting to see who else finishes in the points. There's a few people who've had some quiet races. We've got Gads and Kimmy and Mo in the...
well, time penalties are going to be an issue.
Time penalties could cause anything as catches.
And now Try and Catch is retired from the session. Yellow flag sector 3, so I'm going to assume that's the same thing. Another crash out.
Of Scary, I believe.
So we've got 11 drivers remaining. We started with 16. We were scheduled for 17, but David Wallbank fell out in the qualifying session and never came back. His car's been sitting in pits since the drop of the green flag. So we've got 11 cars left running. Points up for grab. And we've got some... Animal and Dan on the live chat have been going back and forth about rooting for Sloppy and Epic, and they've been having a good time with each other. Neither one of them seem to be cheering on Rita at this point. New crowd favorite's going to be Dan here. Him and Ben Gallagher running second and third. Dan is going to be looking to take away this win. Rita, though, 13 seconds. That's going to drop him all the way back to like 7th or 8th place.
I think he's going to be... There's a big gap between Ben and the McLaren of KAMIKAZE. There's an 8-second gap
yeah, it'd be like maybe 5th or 6th.
Be about P5, I'd say. There's could be Mercedes civil war here between Ben and Dan. Could be very interesting to P2 here.
And Try and Catch has officially left the session. Kimmy picks up a 3-second time penalty. Kimmy currently running in 6th. And I'm sure he's had multiple penalties as well.
DRS for Ben as they go down the back straight. Will he go down the inside? He will. They got very close for that. And it looks like Ben will get the move done. Dan won't go down without a fight.
And Dan is not going to go down without a fight.
The outside.
Slams the door, cuts him off. And I'm sure there's no team orders between these two. And Carbine and Gad just went into the pits. That moves Kimmy up to 4th.
Ben's flown back past him. I don't think Dan would mind that. As Casey set the fastest lap for Grand Prix.
And Casey's just moved up to 8th because the other guys have pitted. So Casey, who had that wing damage, had to go in damage control. Fell back a couple of spots, pitted a couple of laps ago. He's now working his way back to 8th.
And Mo in the Haas just gone for a spin. I think he was cutting the lawn, I think, the exit of the chicane. Down at P9.
Meanwhile, Wolves is working on the back of Sloppy. So we go back to Sloppy. Sloppy's trying to fight for this top 5 spot.
And,
Dan, meanwhile, side by side with his teammate as they head out of Ascari and down the backstretch towards the Parabolica. He's going to try and go around the outside of the Parabolica. He's going to get the move done. But Ben's going to bait him. Ben's going to have the DRS advantage now. And a yellow flag in Sector 2. And that might be Wolves.
No, it's Mo who's just retired from the Grand Prix.
Oh, and Sloppy is side by side with Wolves and Ascari. We saw this earlier. And it was AB53 Mo that you're correct. He retired from the session. Everybody's going to get points if they can finish this race.
Ben had the look at Dan there. The gap between first and second up to 3.1.
It's very tight as we watch Sloppy and Euro Wolves fight side by side coming out of the Parabolica. Meanwhile, back towards second, Ben Gallagher trying to dive in on Dan and take that position back as these two fight back and forth. I'm sure there's no team orders between these guys. Not even sure that they even know each other.
That's another good question to ask. Yeah. Alfa Romeo's doing a good job in P4 and P5.
KCG has done an amazing job to work his way back to the 5th spot.
Scrap for 6th beer. Can Sloppy get up to P6 to claim that 8 championship points?
You know what's interesting about this is that Casey and Rita were first and second last week. Obviously, the battle for the championship is on. And as it stands right now, with that 13-second time penalty, I mean, that's going to drop Rita back to 3rd. Casey would be 5th. They would virtually still have the same amount of points. The battle would still be on for the championship. Nobody's going to come out of here with a clear-cut lead over the other.
Yeah, and Dan's obviously going to close up if he's going to hold and win this Grand Prix as Ben overtakes him going into Turn 1.
So Mercedes have swapped positions now a number of times. 4 laps remaining in this race. And
very enjoyable scrap between these two after.
It is the battle essentially for 2nd and 3rd, but really it's the battle for the lead of this race with Rita's 13-second time penalty.
I think Ben's got more time penalties than Dan, from what I've seen. So, you have a look at it. Surely this is Dan doesn't want to get involved in any incidents as Ben loses the back.
Oh, we've got a 3-car battle going on here. Coming out of turn 1, this is Sloppy, Epic, and Euro, and it looks like Epic's going to get the good run coming out of there as Sloppy and Euro had to go into the grass just a little bit. So Epic around the outside. Now he's going to move Epic into the 6th spot.
Through Curve de Grande.
Oh, and Euro Wolves. Sloppy coming out of that corner. They almost made contact. Back to the battle for 2nd.
Could be interesting what's going to happen down this straight as Ben looks like he's losing tyre wear. He's been a bit sloppy in the last sector. See what Dan can do.
And now Dan's going to have the DRS advantage as they head down the front stretch. To the outside.
And he's comfortably got him as Sloppy picks
Sloppy just picked up a time penalty. So Dan, around the outside, he was able to pick up that spot with the DRS advantage this time. And it's a 3-way battle as they head down into the Parabolica here, the battle for 6th.
I think Sloppy could be in for an overtake here. All the Sloppy supporters in the chat. Could be an interesting one for your driver.
We do have some Sloppy supporters.
As he's gone around the outside.
Ooh, and Epic's trying to side draft him a little bit, take away some of that side force. Oh, but he's going to go around the outside. They're wheel to wheel. They rub. A little bit of a shoulder rub there. And where is Euro Wolves? Oh, he blew the chicane.
Cut the corner.
He did the right thing, though. He slowed down. He let those two continue their battle. Oh, no, and they touch.
Ooh, bit of contact to the side pod and the tyre, but that. Ben's overtaking Dan in the news, but Dan's not going to go down without a fight.
So Sloppy loses out on that battle. Back to 2nd now.
The gap between the top 2 up to 5.2 seconds.
Now Rita's actually doing some damage control himself. He's really starting to separate himself from the rest of these guys. I don't think he'll be able to make up that 13 seconds, but he's been able to pull out such a gap over Kimmy that he'll be able to get that 3rd spot. Kimmy's about to be passed by his teammate KCG.
This could be tactical for the sake of the champion. Oh, maybe not for the sake of the championship.
I think so. He's on the softer tires. I think Kimmy knows he's got nothing for him. So KCG is going to move into the 4th spot. Dan and Ben battling side by side as they head down into the second chicane.
This has definitely been scrap of the Grand Prix between the pair of them.
Meanwhile, really Sloppy and Epic are still going back and forth as they snake down the front stretch.
Sloppy trying to go around the outside.
It looks like Euro is under pressure now from Carbine.
Maybe a contact. As the McLaren looks to gain a couple of positions. Obviously not forgetting Gad in P10.
I think Gad's got a number of penalties as well, but with everybody that's got so many freaking time penalties, it's hard to say who's going to stop where. Watch Dan coming out of the Ascari down towards the Parabolica. Oh, and Carbine has gotten around. Looks like Wolves is going off.
Oh, Wolves in the wall. Yeah.
Wolves, yeah, he's in the wall, so he'll be... his battle is done for the day.
He hasn't got front wing either.
Sloppy, on the other hand, Sloppy's still battling it out with Epic. Dan and Ben are still battling it out. And a 3-second time penalty for Sloppy. Oh, and there's a little bit of contact there. Looked like Dan almost gave Ben the chrome horn, headed into the 1-2 complex there.
Ben's pulling away from Dan, but Dan is closing the gap with the slipstream. I don't think it'll be enough for a move.
Not this time. Oh, and he blows the braking zone.
Took a little bit of that. Let's get the corner, did the right thing. Gap between the top two is up to 5.4 seconds. It's the racing point. Like it's going to Ascari for the penultimate time.
Rita 5.5 seconds out in front. Epic and Sloppy still battling it out there. The battle for 6th rages on. And I think it's funny that Epic and Sloppy are fighting so hard for a spot, and those are the two guys in the live chat. These are the guys they've been cheering on this whole race, Epic and Sloppy. So crowd favorites battling it out for the 6th spot.
Sloppy could be fine for now, but Epic could easily fight back and nick it. The top 3 start the last lap. Will Dan have a look at Ben? I think he will. It's really close into the braking at turn 1.
And Ben just picked up another time penalty, so that's good news for Dan.
It's really good news for Dan.
This is Dan. Really, at this point, he could probably just settle and cross the line 3rd. He'll come home first. There's no reason for him to make any silly moves on the last lap of this race.
Yeah, the gap between the top 2 have gone down slightly to 4.8 seconds now.
Epic and Sloppy battling it out down the front stretch. Epic's going to get around Sloppy.
Going for now with the last lap to go on. He runs a little bit wider, so one Sloppy looks for a switch back, but he won't prevail.
Not close enough to make that work.
So the racing point is driven very well today, but I think penalties will unfortunately cost him this Grand Prix.
Absolutely. Yellow flag in Sector 1. Rita coming down the back stretch for the last time, heading into the Parabolica. Dan right behind them, Ben and Dan, I should say, in the Mercedes. So here comes Rita. He's going to cross the line first, but he's not going to get the win. It's going to be interesting to see where everybody comes out at the end of this race. And
weavings from both Mercedes drivers.
Rita drops to second. Ben had enough time penalties, so Rita's going to get second. Casey G had that front wing damage, had to do damage control the second part of this race in the second stint, made up a lot of spots under some pit sequence. He's going to come across 4th, and he's got 3rd. Ben Gallagher drops to 4th. Here comes Kimmy, so that is big time. That is a big time podium finish for Casey G. Here comes Kimmy, Epic, Sloppy, Carbine, and Gad.
Carbine's got least amount of penalties. He's beaten Sloppy there. And there's Gad. So finished home in P9. Final of the
what a crazy finish because of the time penalties. Unbelievable. Casey G is going to get 3rd spot. Rita's going to get 2nd. And I think we found ourselves our championship battle. And then Dan comes out of nowhere today to make himself known. I'm here, and I'm here to race.
I have to admit, I'd say if he could get things his way, he would be up here. And in fairness to him, he's done a very good job in that Mercedes today. Casey would be very fortunate with that P3 with the amount of penalties Ben got in the system Mercedes. But that's a very good race. I'm sweating after watching it, if I'm being honest. I've thoroughly enjoyed on debut as well.
So, unofficial results before the stewards have to deal with any type of penalties after the race. Dan's going to walk away with the win. Rita, second spot. Casey G with his second podium of the year. Ben Gallagher, fourth. Kimmy is fifth. Epic the Animal, sixth. Carbine is seventh. Sloppy G is eighth. Gad, ninth. And Euro Wolves is 10th. And unfortunately, 11th through 16th is all DNFs. That is AB53 Mo, PMP Try and Catch, Maxi 16, Sippy, Fozzie Wazzy, and Feared by Gaming. Unbelievable race. Congratulations to Dan on his HTARL debut. Rita with his second podium finish in a row. Casey G with a second podium finish in a row. And we've got ourselves a clear-cut three-way battle. I think Dan's going to be a three-way battle for the championship after today's debut. But Rita and Casey G right now leading the points. So, unbelievable race. This has been round 2 of the Hit the Apex Racing League. This is the Assists Series, Season 3, Round 2 at Italy. And you can be sure to check us out again next week as we are going to be heading to Belgium, another very fast track, and that should be very interesting. A 14-race calendar for this series this year, so Belgium will be the next one to go down. And Ozen, what do you think? Your commentating debut wasn't too bad, aside from the little gaffe at the beginning of the commentating, but thanks to Animal ST on the live stream, we were able to fix that relatively quickly.
Yeah, except for my settings. Kind of costing me the start of there, which actually went really well. I have to admit, it did go really well. And other than that, I enjoyed a good race. Hopefully, I'll be more often to do some more commentary with you. Hopefully, over more good races.
Absolutely, and Animal ST says he loved the commentary. We appreciate all the viewers that we had during the live stream, and especially Animal ST and Dan199722 on the live chat, going back and forth, rooting for Sloppy and Epic Gaming. So always good to have some fans in the stands. So we appreciate you guys hanging out with us for this race, and be sure to check us out next week as we head to Belgium, and we'll do it all over again. We'll see everybody at the next round.